Here's something that catches a lot of people over 60 completely off guard. You can be eating a genuinely healthy, well-balanced diet, full of vegetables, lean protein, and whole grains, and still be quietly running low on essential nutrients, not because of what you're eating, but because of how well your body is actually absorbing it. This is one of the most overlooked aspects of aging, and it explains a surprising number of symptoms that get dismissed as ordinary signs of getting older. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 9 signs that your body may not be absorbing nutrients as efficiently as it used to, why this becomes more common after 60, and exactly what you can do about it. If you find this kind of practical doctor-informed health guidance useful, go ahead and subscribe to Longevity Insight right now, because we release videos exactly like this every single week. Let's start with why absorption specifically becomes more challenging with age, because this context makes every sign on this list click into place. Digestion doesn't just involve eating the right foods, it involves a whole chain of processes breaking food down, extracting nutrients, and transporting them across the intestinal lining into your bloodstream where they can actually be used. Several links in that chain naturally become less efficient over the years. Stomach acid production tends to decline gradually with age, and stomach acid plays a crucial role in breaking down food and activating certain nutrients, particularly vitamin B12 for absorption. The lining of the small intestine, where most nutrient absorption actually takes place, can also become somewhat less efficient over time. And certain medications commonly prescribed after 60, along with digestive conditions that become more common with age, can further interfere with this entire process. Put together, this means it's entirely possible to eat a nutritionally excellent diet and still develop meaningful deficiencies simply because your body isn't extracting and absorbing those nutrients as effectively as it once did. The first sign is persistent fatigue that doesn't fully resolve with rest, something we've touched on across several videos on this channel, because it connects to so many different underlying issues. When your body isn't absorbing key nutrients like iron, vitamin B12, or vitamin D efficiently, your cells don't have what they need to produce energy effectively, regardless of how much you're eating or how well you're sleeping. This kind of fatigue often feels heavier and more persistent than ordinary tiredness, and it frequently doesn't improve much even after what should be adequate rest, which is exactly the kind of clue that points toward an absorption issue rather than simple exhaustion. The second sign is muscle weakness, separate from general tiredness, where you notice you're simply not as strong as you expect to be for everyday tasks. Poor absorption of protein, vitamin D, and magnesium in particular can directly affect muscle strength and function, since all three play essential roles in how muscles contract, repair, and maintain themselves over time. This ties closely into a topic we covered in a previous video about accelerated muscle loss after 60, and nutrient absorption is genuinely one of the hidden contributing factors worth considering alongside the others we discussed there. The third sign is brittle, weak, or unusually ridged fingernails. Nails require a steady supply of protein, biotin, iron, and several other nutrients to grow strong and healthy, and since nail growth is relatively slow, changes in nail quality often reflect nutrient status over the preceding weeks or months rather than something happening in the moment. Nails that break or split easily, develop noticeable ridges, or grow unusually slowly can be an early visible clue that something in your nutrient absorption has shifted, well before more significant symptoms develop elsewhere. The fourth sign is dry, rough, or unusually flaky skin, beyond what you typically expect from simple weather changes or normal aging alone. Essential fatty acids, vitamin A, vitamin E, and zinc all play meaningful roles in maintaining healthy skin structure and moisture retention, and poor absorption of these nutrients can show up fairly visibly on the skin, often before it becomes obvious anywhere else in the body. This is frequently attributed entirely to aging skin or dry winter air, when nutrient absorption may be quietly contributing to the picture as well. The fifth sign is experiencing infections more frequently than you used to, or noticing that illnesses seem to linger longer than they once did. Your immune system relies heavily on adequate levels of several nutrients, including zinc, vitamin C, vitamin D, and protein, to function effectively. When absorption of these nutrients declines, immune function can become somewhat less robust, leaving you more susceptible to catching colds or infections, and potentially taking longer to recover once you do. The sixth sign is unexplained weight loss, meaning a noticeable drop in weight without any intentional change to your diet or activity level. While there are many possible causes of unexplained weight loss that always deserve medical evaluation, poor nutrient absorption is genuinely one of them, since malabsorption can mean that even adequate calorie intake isn't being effectively used or retained by the body. This is a sign that should never simply be watched from a distance, since unexplained weight loss, regardless of the ultimate cause, always warrants a conversation with your doctor. The seventh sign is ongoing digestive discomfort, including bloating, gas, or changes in bowel habits that have become a regular pattern rather than an occasional occurrence. Interestingly, this can work in two directions here. Digestive discomfort can be a direct sign of an underlying condition that's also driving poor absorption, such as certain digestive disorders we'll discuss shortly. But it can also independently make absorption worse over time, since ongoing inflammation or irritation in the digestive tract can further impair the intestinal lining's ability to absorb nutrients efficiently. This creates something of a cycle that's worth addressing directly with your doctor if digestive discomfort has become a persistent part of your daily experience. The eighth sign is numbness or tingling, particularly in the hands and feet, which we've discussed in relation to both blood sugar and magnesium in previous videos, and it appears here for a very similar reason. Vitamin B12 in particular plays an essential role in maintaining healthy nerve function, and since B12 absorption specifically depends on adequate stomach acid and a protein produced in the stomach lining called intrinsic factor, both of which can decline with age, B12-related nerve symptoms are a genuinely common and often overlooked sign of absorption issues in older adults specifically. The ninth and final sign is slow-healing cuts, scrapes, or wounds, something we've touched on in the context of circulation and blood sugar in earlier videos, but which connects equally strongly to nutrient absorption. Vitamin C, zinc, and protein are all essential for the body's natural wound healing process. And when absorption of these nutrients is compromised, healing that should take a week or two can stretch on considerably longer, even for relatively minor injuries. Now let's talk about what actually drives these absorption changes, because understanding the specific causes helps you know what to bring up with your doctor. Reduced stomach acid production, sometimes called hypochlorhydria, becomes more common with age and directly affects the absorption of several key nutrients, particularly vitamin B12, iron, and calcium, all of which depend on an adequately acidic stomach environment to be properly broken down and absorbed. Certain medications commonly used after 60 contribute meaningfully here as well. Proton pump inhibitors and other acid-reducing medications, frequently used long-term for acid reflux, directly reduce stomach acid, which can meaningfully impair absorption of the nutrients that depend on it, particularly with extended use over months or years. Metformin, a commonly prescribed medication for blood sugar management, has also been specifically associated with reduced vitamin B12 absorption over time with long-term use. Digestive disorders that become somewhat more common with age, including celiac disease, inflammatory bowel conditions, and a condition called atrophic gastritis, where the stomach lining becomes thinner and produces less acid and fewer digestive enzymes, can all significantly impair nutrient absorption as well. And certain digestive surgeries, if you've had any procedures involving the stomach or intestines earlier in life, can have long-term effects on absorption capacity that persist for years afterward. Let's talk specifically about the nutrients most commonly affected, since this list tends to repeat across several of the signs we've discussed. Vitamin B12 is perhaps the most significant, given how specifically its absorption depends on adequate stomach acid and intrinsic factor, both of which decline with age, and B12 deficiency can produce fatigue, nerve symptoms, and in more significant cases, effects on memory and cognitive function. Iron absorption also depends significantly on stomach acid, and iron deficiency contributes to fatigue, weakness, and the pale skin sometimes associated with anemia. Calcium absorption becomes less efficient with age as well, with direct implications for long-term bone health and fracture risk. Magnesium absorption, as we discussed in a previous video, can be affected by several of the same age-related digestive changes, contributing to muscle cramps, sleep issues, and other signs we covered there. And vitamin D, beyond simply requiring adequate sun exposure to be produced by the skin, also requires proper absorption from dietary sources and effective conversion within the body to become biologically active, a process that can become somewhat less efficient with age as well. So what can you actually do to support better nutrient absorption? The first step is genuinely straightforward, simple blood work. A basic panel checking B12, iron levels alongside a complete blood count, vitamin D and calcium can identify existing deficiencies clearly and objectively, rather than leaving you to guess based on symptoms alone. This is exactly the kind of testing worth specifically requesting if you're noticing several of the signs we've discussed today, particularly if it's been a while since your last comprehensive checkup. The second step involves eating in a way that supports absorption, not just nutrient intake alone. Pairing iron-rich foods with a source of vitamin C, such as adding citrus fruit, bell peppers, or tomatoes alongside iron-containing meals, meaningfully improves how well iron is absorbed, since vitamin C helps convert iron into a form that's more readily taken up by the body. Similarly, since vitamin D is fat-soluble, consuming vitamin D-rich foods alongside a source of healthy fat improves absorption as well. Eating smaller, more frequent meals rather than a few very large ones can also ease the digestive burden for anyone whose stomach acid or digestive capacity has become somewhat reduced with age. The third step is having a direct conversation with your doctor about any long-term medications you're taking, particularly acid-reducing medications or metformin. Specifically asking whether ongoing use might be affecting your nutrient absorption and whether periodic monitoring or supplementation might be appropriate alongside your current treatment. This isn't a suggestion to stop any medication on your own, since these medications are typically prescribed for genuinely important reasons, but rather a prompt to make sure nutrient status is being actively considered as part of your overall care. The fourth step is addressing any underlying digestive conditions directly, since treating conditions like celiac disease, inflammatory bowel disease, or atrophic gastritis when present often produces meaningful improvement in absorption and related symptoms once properly managed. If you've been experiencing persistent digestive discomfort alongside any of the other signs we've discussed today, that combination is genuinely worth bringing to your doctor's attention as a unified picture, rather than mentioning each symptom separately across different visits. I want to be clear about something important before we wrap up. None of these 9 signs individually definitively points toward a nutrient absorption problem, since each one has plenty of other possible explanations as we've discussed across other videos on this channel. What matters is recognizing the pattern, particularly when several of these signs cluster together, and understanding that I eat well, so I must be getting everything I need, isn't necessarily the full picture after 60. Absorption matters just as much as intake, and it's a piece of the puzzle that's remarkably easy to overlook simply because it's invisible until blood work reveals it clearly. If this video helped you understand something you've been experiencing yourself, I'd love to hear from you, so leave a comment below, and let me know which of these 9 signs resonated with you the most. This community learns so much from hearing about each other's experiences, and your comment might be exactly what encourages someone else to finally ask their doctor for the right blood work. And if you know someone who's been dealing with unexplained fatigue, brittle nails, or any of the other signs we've covered today, a parent, a spouse, a friend, please take a moment to share this video with them. It could genuinely be the information that helps them get real answers. Before you go, here's what I want you to remember. Eating well is genuinely important, but it's only half of the equation after 60. How well your body absorbs what you eat matters just as much, and paying attention to these 9 signs gives you a real practical way to catch absorption issues early while they're still straightforward to identify and address. If you found this video valuable, make sure you're subscribed to Longevity Insight and turn on notifications so you never miss the practical, science-informed health guidance we share here every week. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Take good care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.